Hey, and welcome to TSOB. This is a podcast for entrepreneurs who are interested in investing or starting their own funds. We are Adam Anderson and Zach Eikenberry. Join us to get a behind-the-scenes look at the relationships between founding entrepreneurs and the VCs that invest in them. You never close your eyes anymore when I kiss your lips. I feel like that's the song I should have for like every venture capital call I have. It's like, guys, I thought we were like a thing, but I think the love is only going one way.
So now they kiss and the other person keeps her eyes open like a creepster.
Yeah.
Is that what happens? It's like,
That's it.
hey, you're now creepy when we kiss.
Sure. Now, back when that song was released, it was super creepy. Now, what I think is that someone's just holding their phone up behind your shoulder and they're like scrolling Insta, where they're like, no, I mean, I'm going through the motions, but I'm not present. I'm not here anymore. But yeah, I have the creeper. Like when I kiss, I like to have full eye contact for the entire thing. No blinking or you don't love me. Anyway, multiple metaphors today. I'm going to go. That's not even a metaphor. That was just disturbing. Or maybe, no, it wasn't. No, that wasn't a metaphor, right? Because it was the act of kissing with your eyes open is the same level, the same kind of process of dealing with the venture capital.
Yeah, it was
company.
an analogy, is what it was.
Damn, a simile? No, I didn't use the word like. Honestly, I got a 1.0 my sophomore year of high school, and I was in the International Baccalaureate, so every course was weighted a full point.
Oh, congrats! That's one more point than I thought.
Yeah, so I got a 0. No, I got an A in band, and I failed everything else. But who's gonna memorize all of Beowulf? Who's got 2 thumbs? Not this guy. Not gonna do it. Lots of stuff to talk about. I'm wearing my Ted Lasso jersey shirt because I wanted to talk. I have a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about because we were on the phone earlier today talking about life after a big plunk of money hits the bank account. And how are things different, and what are things are different, and we've scaled up to 19 humans now work in this company. Yeah,
that's right.
But when you listen to this episode a year from now, and you're going to be 19, I wish. Now we have 19,000.
No, that's not actually.
Just no.
Yeah, I think I found a LinkedIn post that I need to go find where there's one of these guys who's like a thought leader in sales was showing basically a new world in which he's aware of several companies who only have 3 AEs, a couple of SDRs, and a VP of sales who went from 3 million to 30 million ARR.
That's right.
And he talks about the efficiencies. And we actually had a conversation yesterday. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago at our leadership meeting, where we were talking about KPIs as a company, and it was brought up, hey, what about an employee retention KPI? I said, that's fair. Let's talk about involuntary churn and voluntary churn when it comes to employee headcount. But I said, what I think would be a much more interesting KPI, not just a metric, but a KPI, would be what percentage of our employees are getting paid higher than the 75% quartile for their role in the marketplace.
That's excellent.
And what does it mean to have a smaller, more effective team doing basically out punching their side then, and to no longer be proud of headcount? Now, I think there is a level in which your headcount matters, especially to certain enterprise buyers, because they want to know what kind of resources they're getting. So if they're a company of 10,000 people and you're a company of 4, they'll treat you more like a freelance opportunity if they want to do business with you. But once you get to 40 or 50 people, they're like, okay, you're a real company. You've got an office, you're doing a thing, and we're more likely to work with you.
That's the number, 40 or 50, honestly. Even at 25, they're like, fly by night. man, you don't have, we don't recognize your C-suite's makeup. You're just a dude with a bunch of people. But if we look at all the AI stuff that's happening, 15 cents an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's which is tough, because one of the things I'm working on is how do we create jobs, right? And so I want 19,000 people to be, but maybe it's not 19,000 people in one, giant organization. Maybe it's 100 people in 1,900 organizations.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, the world has shifted from entry point workforce demand.
Mm-hmm.
And so what used to be developers are now going to be prompt engineers, right? Like,
That's right.
and that's that possibly caught a number of the folks out there flat-footed. But I do think it speaks to the role of why ed tech and education is always valuable and important, is that the world moves too fast, and it's going to continue to move faster and faster to be able to retool a workforce. And yeah, I do think many of the thought leaders were caught flat-footed with the fact that OpenAI, ChatGPT is gained the most users in the shortest period of time ever.
Yeah.
For any technology that's ever existed, like faster than iOS, Apple iPhone adoption,
It's
Facebook
crazy.
adoption, and so that's signaling to me, and I get that I'm an early adopter in most tech spaces, but that's signaling to me that we're quickly getting to a tipping point where AI might be the next platform shift. I don't say might, I actually believe it will be. It'll be the next major platform shift. There was the invention of the internet, right? And then there was like social media. And then there was a few other, like the iOS App Store was a big platform shift. Like it became valuable to companies. They had to do it.
Yeah.
And I think any company that's not considering AI is dead in the water.
Well, that reminds me of, how I knew my first marriage was dead in the water, is that we reached a tipping point, and then we had to do a workforce retooling. And
yeah, and you had to go get permission from the legislator.
yeah, there's definitely legal involved. I don't think I'm doing metaphors. I think I'm just doing puns.
Yeah.
I think I'd lower the bar a little bit and just be me.
Was that a palindrome? I don't know.
Haiku? Yuku. No, but I mean the thing that makes the comment about my marriage make sense, right? My least favorite marriage. I have my favorite marriage. Is that when all this stuff is happening, it actually impacts people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to get really, really excited about all this. But I'm right now working with the state of South Carolina to figure out how we deploy more capital into cybersecurity companies and investment. And they are so far behind on the most obvious thing of maybe we should have cybersecurity capabilities. Counting on traditional workforce development to understand what the hell to do with AI. I mean, I guess this is why entrepreneurship's a thing. This is why what we do is important. You've got to go out there, see the thing that no one else sees, create the company, fight everyone who says no, and then build the thing despite what the people with the money tell you to do. And then everyone turns around and says how smart they were to take a meeting with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Like I said, I've said before on previous episodes that I stepped into the capital raise space largely having a veneration and deep respect for VCs. I thought they were very smart people and all these things as a whole, and that it was a hard job, and it still is. They sit between a lot of impossible things, and that's probably why most venture firms, don't actually come close to the returns that they promise.
Yeah.
The thing that um, really, they don't know what I know about the future, and they don't know the point of view I have. Like,
That's right.
I have my street MBA. I've seen things come and go too.
And that was
And
the street of Bangkok. It's
like I don't there's a level in which um like unfortunately I only know ways to make straw into gold in a practical, very serious way. Like to actually put more money into bank account. I don't have this set of skills in which I put hypothetical, markups into my portfolio so that I can go try to leverage it for more capital raise and access through debt and promises and other PowerPoints. And I don't have an MBA that's so sophisticated that does that.
Mhm.
I am in the entrepreneur world, I'm blue collar. You give me $1, I give you 10.
Yeah.
Do I give you 100 inflated with markups in a story that becomes a Hulu special? No. Like I give you $10. I give you real capital, cash paid out.
I
And
love
so,
the confusion in your voice right now. I give you money. I give you why don't you get it? 1 to 10. I give
well,
it to you.
but my point is I see the impact of AI, but
Yeah,
I don't see it hypothetically. I
that's right.
don't see it as like right now. I do think like everything's going to have three waves and we're just in the first wave. And so like let me compare it to one of the frustrating points about our capital fundraise. So we're up against a large company that's recently been purchased by private equity, IPO'd and then brought off public, and they're like the gorilla in the space. Everybody, I don't really want to name them, but they're a competitor to Hook Security. Uh, what really bothers me as a practitioner and a builder is people who are investors think it's either or. It's either they're going to win or Hook's going to win. And that's just not the case. When you study and have a understanding of how markets form, there's going to be $3 to $5 billion market cap companies in this space.
That's right.
And there's one, arguably two right now. And even so, there's room at the table for a third and fourth. But people don't see that because they only think, oh, the first mover won. There is no example in tech right now where the first mover has won outside of these very small niche companies in distinct markets. If you are not only serving aviation with aviation inventory management in this particular niche over here with some sort of mainframe tech, like that's the only incumbent that matters. And that's the only monopolistic competitor that's in the space. So it's very hard to disrupt them. When it comes to companies like us who serve industries across the board of sizes, companies and sizes of different sizes and structures, and we're able to add value and provide technology efficiency there, like there's room for three. And it's so frustrating to me to get into investors' heads who don't understand the street MBA ground level that money actually moves. And this, I can give you 10, I can give you 100 back. I'm not going to say I can
Well,
give you 100, but I
yeah,
can give
it's
you
the
100.
thinking, right? So here you've got someone saying the market is X and here's the gorilla. And what we're saying is that you're not looking at the market correctly. You're looking at this giant market and thinking there's one. What is actually is 100 markets, 100 verticals inside of this market. And each one of those has the ability to build a $1 billion company. You could be cyber awareness for aviation and build a $1 billion company. You could be cyber awareness for adaptive manufacturing and be a $1 billion company. The way that the economy is going, the way that all this stuff is, it's like there's so many $1 billion companies out there. The friction point comes in when the people who are allocating money don't understand the actual play, or they don't agree with it. And by the way, they're allowed to not agree with it. And I remember we were on a call with one guy and you were talking about K through 12. And dude's like, whoa, man. He didn't. This is not how he actually sounded, but this is how I'm going to go with it. Whoa, man, K through 12's procurement process is hard, man. I mean, their buying cycles. We've seen it before. It's tough. I mean, there's really a lot of money to be had there, but it's tough, right? And so this guy was telling you all that, and you're like, excuse me, sir. I've started 2 high schools and middle school and wrote the procurement processes and procedures, and I understand how it all works, and I have a competitive advantage to dominate this particular niche market. And he's like, whoa, bro, but K through 12, huh? Right? I don't know if you've ever been there. Sir, I don't feel like you're listening. I feel like you're telling me instead of hearing. Yeah, so we're gonna pass. Fuck you. No, actually, that don't say that, Zach. Zach didn't actually tell the guy to go play the I'm trying to decide how much cussing we're doing on this podcast, and I still haven't gotten there, man. It's just, do I go in all the way and drop F-bombs left and right, or do I don't know. It's
I
gonna be a
don't know.
journey.
I don't. Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Which is not a metaphor, it's digression. The looking at the AI's ability to disrupt markets, to me, isn't about disruption. It's about market creation. I'm tired of people thinking that you've got to invest in companies that can compete. The companies you invest in are the companies that are creating new markets. The pie gets bigger. I think that's the thing that folks don't quite understand. And also the pie gets bigger when you're kind of boring. We are the this for that. Could be we are cyber awareness training for K through 12, and we just niched. Now all of a sudden the pie got bigger.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be super great big technology breakthroughs, right? It doesn't have to be like we've created the new that. No, we're 1% better in a particular market cap, which unleashed everybody buying, because before the market was stagnant and apathetic, and now we've created something that they like, and so now they're buying from us, and so we've opened up that complete market segment, and we have no competitors because it's blue ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And that really resonates when you tell people that. And then when it gets to check writing, the capital allocators who don't understand what you're talking about can't get excited about it. So you said something earlier today that I want to circle back on. Finding your tribe. You would rather work with somebody who gets what you're doing and then backs it up with capital. So the perfect ideal venture capital, or let me even remove the word venture from it. The ideal capital source for growth is somebody who's inside your tribe that gets you. Would you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I think I understood going into capital raise, right? Going into 450 plus meetings over the last 4 years, that not everybody was a fit. Like I knew that. But what I think I misunderstood is that in our particular industry, like not comparing to other people who are fundraising and other SaaS companies, et cetera, like, everybody is envious of other industries who have easier time raising capital, like, oh man, if we were just cloud migration, cloud work, if we were just this type of EDR, or if we were in healthcare tech or fintech, whatever it is, we could probably raise more money. I think I misunderstood how few champions would sit at the intersection of cybersecurity, ed tech, content, and then in the technology SaaS space, bet on fundamentally like liberal arts company in a STEM area. And I think I misunderstood what that tribe would look like and what would motivate that capital allocator, that investor to jump. And I struggled with it as, like, oh, maybe it's execution risk that I need to take care of. Maybe it's a stronger, better vision. Maybe it's these other things. And those all contribute to up my game in those areas was necessary to level up anyway, my thinking on it. The thing that I think it took me a second to appreciate the people who actually did care, the people who do invest in us, because I was so frustrated at the no's I was getting. And
Ooh, that's tough.
I underestimated how many no's I would get. I knew I would get some. I just didn't. I underestimated that 9.5 out of every 10 people I talked to would be a no.
Yeah.
And that 0.5 is is I was not treating them with the thankfulness and the preciousness that I thought. I was taking it for granted because I was like, okay, great, get in the wagon. I got to go find more. And versus stopping, appreciating the people who joined us for the ride, understood what it meant to actually win this for the sake of, let's just say, humanity and the flourishing of humans being able to engage with technology.
Mhm.
Like, that's not a big tribe. It's just not. It's not. There's not a lot of people in investor capital worlds that care. They're
Yeah.
speculators.
Yeah.
They are they're the worst kind of banker, right? At least a banker just wants you to prove that you don't need the money. Like, these are the folks who want you to need the money, but like, also it's they believe that they can create another VC upstream that'll buy the markup.
That's right.
And are you part of a larger narrative? Right now, AIs are running narrative. So seed and AI, like YC companies, Y Combinator companies, they have an AI narrative. And they know if they bring enough AI companies into YC, that the seed and Series A people will mark up their deal. And they know it'll be a good markup. And that's just the game. But it had nothing. So my point is, I thought that was the game, and it's not for us. Hook security is about finding the few precious people who are mission-driven investors who believe in what we're trying to accomplish when it comes to the intersection of cybersecurity, ed tech, content, and a sweeping vision to actually help people around the world and not just sell contracts.
So I want to double down on what you just said with the mission driven. Mission driven doesn't mean lack of profit or lack of returns. Mission driven in this game means there's an alignment on how you want your money to go to work and how you want your money to come back. We're not a charity, right? Mission driven is, I like to call it conscious capitalism. Capitalism still needs to work. Still need to get my money back at a return. I want to be conscious on how I'm deploying it and not just toss it into the latest thing and hope. I want to know that my dollars are going to have impact in the world the way I want to see it. And being able to circle back around and realize that you have conscious capitalists who are backing you makes you want to go find more, and makes you kind of want to ignore the unconscious capitalist out there who is simply following the hype, simply deploying capital with the knowledge that I don't have to win the whole game. I just have to win that next bet. I just got to make sure that the next capital in agrees with me, and I get that markup, and I can turn around to my LPs and say what a good job I'm doing. I love, man, I wish we would record these. That was smart what you just said.
And so what we have now is, I have a group of 25 people that is now my job to encourage and flourish those relationships and not be jealous of all the relationships of people that have passed on us.
Yeah.
And to say, like, this is the army we have.
Okay. Here, I didn't know that this was why we were on the call today, but this is why we're on the call. How are you going to do that? People who are listening to this have some success, and there's going to be at least 4: Bill, Tina, Samuel, and Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
Yep. They all 4. Hey, right? Patreon. We don't have one. It's funny. I'm making these people up.
I just love the fact that, like, Ezekiel is like using a bootleg like Android phone
100%.
in his shed somewhere in
100%.
Pennsylvania.
That's exactly what's happening. It's like, don't let anybody know.
He's still giggling that you cussed.
That's right. It's like, oh. So, fuck yeah, Ezekiel. Fuck yeah. So there's going to be people who are just had an aha moment. about what you just said, which is like, oh my gosh, I have been focusing on the no's, and I have 20 people who've said yes, and I haven't turned around and loved on them. I haven't done the things that I needed to do. 2023, rocking and rolling. How are you going to pay off that relationship debt, as I'm going to call it? You've got people who you can now, what I was thinking, I've got 1,000 ideas on, okay, how do we say thank you and encourage and nurture those 20 relationships? Because those 20 relationships, you've set them up that they're the people who are going to get you that next round of funding if you ever think you're going to need it, from their connections and from their enjoyment and from their know, like, and trust of you. So why don't you talk through how do you manage, maintain, improve, and nurture the relationships with the people who are in your tribe who've already bet on you?
So I don't have a total answer to this. So maybe you
Dang
can fill
it,
it in.
Zach.
I'll tell you where
Ezekiel.
I'll tell you where I'm going to start. Where
Okay.
I'm going to start is improve your regular communication with them.
Yeah.
That because we're both they invested because of Hook Security. I mean, perhaps they invested because of me, and I am synonymous with Hook Security in their mind. But I would rather them begin to focus and understand the story of Hook. And so regular communication, what I actually was creating with our leadership team, which I'm excited, our first official leadership team meeting was this Tuesday. And, we dove right into KPIs. So we're still exploring which KPIs, key performance indicators. Those are the ones that really move the needle for your particular company. And then like metrics are ways in which you're measuring against certain, like, call it tactical or operational objectives. So you have metrics at a lower level and KPIs at a higher level. But so we're identifying which KPIs I need to include in a regular cadence update. And starting this Sunday, right, I'm using a new tool that will probably help me aggregate and push this out. A regular update. I'm going to start every other week. The goal would be to get to weekly. And there'll be two forms of it. There'll be every other week will be an investor update just for people who have put capital into our company.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a friends and family, which is everybody who's like in general a supporter or was a perspective, and all the VCs and angels and everybody I ever talked to, they will get a high level progress report. So it'll go like the second and, fourth Sundays without them knowing about it. I'm not going to tell them it's always coming, but Sunday evenings is when I intend to just send out high level, here's what's going on, here's what we're up against, here's some of our challenges, etc. And the friends and family update, I intend to be relatively vulnerable as well in our challenges and things we're up against. But knowing that both of those communications could always be forwarded on to somebody who would like to use that information against us, like a competitor or the like. Taking that risk, I still intend to. I don't care about all the people who said no, who would try to put it. I'm trying to find and build our tribe of people.
That's right.
So that's essentially what I'm doing, and then that's one way to begin to appreciate, is to say like, hey, they're telling me everything that's going on in the organization, and I get to watch this unfold, in a much closer way, step by step. And then, there'll probably be like an annual update to shareholders that, I intend to, it could be in January. I'm thinking right now it'll be in July, like just kind of an update to everyone where I record a video, a Loom, a presentation, or that we send out to everybody. And it's a little longer for those people who want to dig in. I think most people will look at it and it'll be 20 minutes and they'll be like, I appreciate the fact that everything I need is in there, but they'll probably never open it.
That's right.
And they'll just say, thank you. And they'll feel seen and appreciated on that level. How to invite them in is the next level of challenge for me because I always think about when the United States now, it was the colonies were forming into the United States, and there's this big Western expansion. Somebody asked, like, Ben Franklin, like, how do you build a nation? And he said, it comes down to being neighbors. And the best way to be a neighbor is when you show up to a community, go ask your neighbor for a cup of flour. And because what happens is when you show up and you ask somebody for something that's within their power to do that they can do immediately, you build a relationship with them because they can show you how generous they are, how good they are, how easy, and now you owe them. And that's how you build good neighbors. What I think we've mistaken is that neighbors are built by somebody shows up and it's up to the people who were there before to bake a pie and send it over. Go borrow a cup of flour from your neighbor, bake a pie, and then take it to them. And that's how you get welcome to the neighborhood. And I'm trying to think through using that same thing with our investors. What can I ask them for that's easily within their power that they can deliver immediately? And we can say, you've moved the needle and you've helped hook.
So a KPI is, who do I owe favors to?
Yeah.
No, the reason I went that route is a lot of this stuff is intuitive based off of the experience that you're having. Like these are you're planning all this stuff in your head. How do I communicate? What do I do? What's that communicating need to be? And you just said something I think is really interesting about the cup of flour. You're a better community member when you ask for favors. And that can be inside your market, that can be with investors, that can be with competitors, vendors, customers, all the things. You've got my brain playing with the idea that the more people I owe favors to because they did a thing for me that was in their ability to do and it wasn't a big pain in their ass, the better relationships I have with folks. So you're not going to send all these people fishing rods with Hook's logo on it? How do you do that? I mean, I know how you do that. You drop shit. I'm not that kind of guy.
I actually looked at getting everybody a fly rod because that would be like meaningful, but that got kind of expensive. I mean,
well,
I don't assume
you're seed funded. Go get something from like Toys R Us. It's plastic and like put a sticker on it and be like, next year it's going to be great.
I am compiling a list of addresses from all our investors for swag boxes that'll just be Hook Security swag. So those will be going out here April, May, which will be a fun little project. So it'll be everything and there'll be a handwritten thank you.
Can we use AI or some kind of thing to have you holding a giant? Remember when we were holding the check from SCRA? Can we edit that and put the VC's thing on there? It's like 500K from, it's like, hey guys, this is for 2024. We're really looking forward to you contributing. Don't worry, we're going to be ready. Anyway.
Yeah. How about if we're going to do that with AI, it's like myself, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and we're all holding a check together.
Well, I sent a proposal to Conor McGregor's people and I used Midjourney to import a picture of Conor McGregor into Midjourney, and then I used that to create him in a spacesuit fighting in 0G in a 0G space station. And yeah, back to workforce development, that took me 6 hours, but it would have, but anyway.
It would have been an impossible task without it.
That's correct.
There was no scenario in which you could design that previously without it.
And it cost me
jab video.
That's right. Jib jab videos, fantastic. I forget those. That's how you should be doing it. You should be doing jib jab videos for all of your investor updates.
Just upload pictures of all 25 investors, and then we do a jib jab with elves.
That's right. Right. Well, I mean, I do find it interesting that you went with a 20-minute video to these people, knowing exactly what hook security does, creating training content, I would put Ethan to work on some of this stuff and make sure that you follow the same tenets of psychological security when you're doing your investor updates. Now, I wouldn't let that get in the way of you actually doing the behaviors that are great, but wouldn't it be great in, a couple weeks or a couple months, maybe even last quarter, getting to the point where your updates get turned into a 90-second video that is engaging all the things that Hook does? Because you're right, they're not going to watch that 20-minute video. But what you do want is you want to watch that 90-second video and remember how much they love you, and then send it off. It's like, oh my gosh, have you seen this investor update? Hook is so good. Or we're overthinking it. God, I love business. There's no wrong answer.
I did find so in my head, real AI, I struggle with the word for it because it's not really a tool. Even though like I may have to prompt it to do something, I'm prompting it in the same way that I prompt people who work for me to go do something. Like it's like a person. And that's why I think it's called artificial intelligence. Intelligence is the ability to sort through information and figure out what's important based on a set of values. And so when we talk about intelligence, this is artificial, as in this is not a human brain per se, but the prompting doesn't feel different to me. And I don't know how to actually use the language, but I think like I've been looking for an assistant AI tool, again, not knowing what the word is, an AI person to actually help me compile KPIs and to build out the regular updates and generate for me my investor updates based upon globally what they read and understand that are happening in the industry at Hook, etc. That this is an example of something that could be automated and prompted. And then it can be taken into ways in which I've never thought about before. Like, how do you create a 90-second video? How do you do specialized thank yous? How do you do shout outs? How do you use AI to come up with a list of ideas to say, how do you engage and thank people and bring them in? Or like an AI tool that watches all the news from all my investors. And then when somebody like, Tampa Bay Ventures, who led our round, does something cool, like it generates an email where I'm like, hey, I saw this article. So cool. Keep it up. I'm a big fan of you guys being wildly successful.
Yeah. That's it.
Like there's an AI person, somebody for me to hire. That I think that's why AI people give it these persons, these AI solutions names, because they are a person. Like, are you gonna ChatGPT did not, because it's trying to straddle a line, but like Bard has a name. Our friend Sat in his Maya, Maya.ai. Maya has a name.
What the hell is going on with Maya? I think he's getting money. I don't know. That's the thing, right? Is that naming a thing. I am like you. I'm not in the theoretical AI stuff. I like practical application. What you just said was brilliant. Here is an AI tool that will keep track of the press releases and the behaviors of the venture and the investor community that you're interested in nurturing, and then we'll make sure that it does awesome things to support them. And if you took the 450 people you talked to and you said, monitor these behaviors and make sure that you send SciSec friendly reinforcing, like to me, maybe our next conversation, I hate to do it because I feel like I'm jumping on a band. You know what? By the time anyone listens to this stuff, no one's going to give a shit about AI.
Well, I think AI, we should think about podcasting tools that leverage an AI assistant. We should talk about promotion tools. We should, this podcast should be creating blogs and content that are valuable to people, but also frankly valuable to other AI tools. We should be feeding in our point of view into AI data sets that can utilize that to synthesize and actually contribute to the conversation. When somebody goes, hey, what what are like it's prompted and said, hey AI, go help me find ways in which to appreciate investors. And the AI tool finds our content, says, hey, that's valuable, makes a judgment call, puts it up, and we've now contributed to increasing the conversation forward. And I frankly I think um giving the exposure of the various ponds we've lived in, like you in South
Mhm.
Carolina and Florida and other places, um, there are a lot of people who would wish to be thought leaders. There are not a lot of people contributing valuable to the conversation and to have a
Yeah.
meta awareness of a conversation. And I think TSOB can really fit in that niche and can really actually add value to conversations around capital access, entrepreneurs, startups, etc.
Yeah. Of the things that I really am interested in, I'm interested in space. I'm interested in ending cybercrime as we know it through SciSec. And I'm interested in fixing this capital allocation thing. And what I think I heard you say, or the way I processed it was, um, right now we have an opportunity to build a really cool tribe of people who believe that something needs to be done different, and people want to experiment with different ways of doing capital allocation and all the things. And I think I just heard you say, hey, we should actually do something about that. We should go out and find different ways to, because I can think of nothing more fun. And actually I can, I'm really creative. But one of the things that might be fun, I want to have a TSOB party with 50 tribe members, get what we get, and we're spending time together. And if we don't reach out to our tribe, then it's just two stones and one bird. I think we need 100 stones. Matter of fact, when someone joins our tribe, I want to send them a stone with a number etched in it, which is their stone. You are, you know, stone number 4. Congratulations. And we call them all of our
Yeah.
stoners. All right, stoners, show up.
I mean, at Hook Security, we have our hookers,
That's
so
right.
that's true.
So just reiterate, because this is the best thing ever. We create a company called Hook Security. And so, people who who work for IBM are IBMers, people who work for, so we have hookers. And I desperately tried to get Virgin Group to buy us so that we would then have Virgin hookers. And the good news is that HR got involved, and we're not doing any of that because
Uh,
that's horrible.
I don't know if you just made Ezekiel a fan for life or if he's shut off the podcast because of that.
Oh man, send your stone back, Ezekiel. If you're not that
You know
guy.
what? I actually think it's a brilliant idea. I would love for us, because you and I need to get some FaceTime together. As part of that
Mhm.
conversation, we carve out time with what to do with two stones, one bird. And because we do actually have people who listen. I appreciate you all. I know
Thanks, Mom.
I know we've made the jokes, but I think it's actually there there are people who, and we appreciate y'all, listen to this. So how can we bring everybody in
Hmm.
and have a conversation around where these Venn diagrams overlap? How to build a company, how to raise capital, how to effectively, building companies a big bucket, but like how to effectively start up and win and gain traction and those three things, because I think it matters. And we have a different perspective because we're not giving how-to lists and we're not saying here are the 8 slides to put in your deck.
No,
We're talking about deck positioning more than we are about deck creation.
we're inviting you into the kitchen as we're making the recipe up to make delicious food, right? The idea is that the conversations we have are two people getting super curious and sharing experiences without saying that we're the expert in it.
Mhm.
Anything we've talked about, there's somebody smarter than us out there who has better data. Two stones, one birds. holds a place for people to have cool conversations. And we're using the experiences we're going through right now with Hook Security as a tapestry to hang those experiences, to paint those experiences on. So
I think that's great. And I think we should look to have a launch party. I think we should identify
Des Moines.
Des Moines, duh.
Word.
Listen, every major presidential election starts in Des Moines, and that's the center of the universe.
Is that why I think of Des Moines? Because is that why it's top of mind? I don't know.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna make some corny jokes about it, but
look, I was gonna come up with one, but I only had the husk of one, and so I was like, I'm just gonna leave these puns out in the field.
Yeah, I was gonna leave those alone too.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna stalk you later today to see whether or not I could be as corny as possible.
Mine was too bad. It was Iowa. Iowa's Sagona, Iowa.
I was gonna stalk you.
Get it, Iowa?
No. Can you explain that again? Iowa? No, I got it now. Sorry, that took me a little bit of time.
So I think it'd be a lot of fun to at our Des Moines. We'll have like a remote party in Des Moines. We'll hack the feed to a bar.
That would be great. No. We'll just put an iPad up and we'll have a Zoom meeting and be like, hey guys.
We spend a lot of resources hacking into like Buffalo Wild Wings, Des Moines, Illinois screens. And all of a sudden at 7 p.m., we take over every screen while people are waiting for the UFC fight. It's just two zones, one person. Like,
hey guys, we're going to talk about capital allocation. And we're going to talk about building, it's important to change the world.
Yeah. We're like brought to you by Bud Light and the whole place erupts.
We apologize for the changing of your regularly scheduled program for 45 minutes of these guys.
We literally hack their feed and we're just on every screen.
Like, what if the entire go-to market is hacking Buffalo Wild Wings? Which we're not going to do, but we are going to, but we're not.
I don't want to do the whole system. I want to only target one in the suburbs of Des Moines, Illinois. And people are like, why are you coming after us?
Oh, it's a grassroots effort. We only go for zero market saturation.
Just what we're looking for. And we do it multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
We're bringing in MSP. Like the FBI is getting involved.
That's it. There's a Wikipedia page about it. Like it's only for populations under 10,000 in a city that has a Buffalo Wild Wings. And they've hit all of them. No one understands.
And it has to be in a state that's the first primary for a presidential election. And so.
Well, there we are. The math is the math. That's all it is. I don't write the rules. The spreadsheet just said Des Moines.
Right. So like, I like the idea of having 100 stones and we find our first 100 tribe members.
100 stoners.
And then, we invite people in. We begin having guests regularly. We iron out our agenda and our show rhythm. And we have our segments of our show and we go through those. I think there's something here that we've been teasing out for a bit. But one of our recent hires at Hook Security, watched a number of our episodes just to learn how.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Dalton. When we sat down,
Dalton.
He had watched a number of episodes. He might even watch this one when it publishes out. So,
Dalton, you want to be stone number 4?
Yeah.
It's between you and Ezekiel. Come on, Dalton, get in here, buddy.
So, I think that matters for us to do that well, and we'll see where it goes. It's not like we're looking to monetize this, but
you said that with a straight face. That's fantastic. Of course, we're monetizing this. All about the money. Actually, there's so many easier ways to make money than a podcast. This is someone told me once upon a time, if you're going to do a podcast and you're going to have the long, do the for a while, you better do something you're really, really interested in and care about. Otherwise, you're going to flare out. And I like that sometimes I have no idea what we're going to talk about. And every single episode has been gold, just straight up gold, not a single dud at all.
That's right. We're just giving it to you.
Probably shouldn't have guests because they're going to screw this thing up. Hey, look, sometimes you want to not be the smartest guy in the room, but I like being the smartest guy on these Zoom calls. And if we invite somebody else in, I might be unokay with that. All right. Yeah. This logo on a rock with like a number somewhere. I don't know. I like the dead bird. Thanks, Ray. That was good dead bird. I've had enough of this. I'm good. I'm emotionally spent. Ezekiel, thanks for tuning in. And by the way, we should have an Ezekiel prize. The most active person in the community gets to spend a long weekend in a barn by themselves, somewhere cold.
I like
it. And special shout out to our Canadian followers. We're all about you. We're all about you guys.
A very special one. Yes. I picture like the South Park people.
No, Canadian people are not like that, man. I want folks to send us stuff from their neck of the woods, and really all I want is syrup from Vermont. I just feel like I want people. I know.
We want everything, including our friends in the north, Vermont. That's all we want.
Okay. Well, let's finish. Dang it. All right. I'm stopping the recording. Life is good. Wiki, break it on down. Hey, and thanks for joining us for the TSOB podcast. Find us on LinkedIn and give us your hot take. The whole reason we're doing this is to get access to better conversations that help us up our game. And if you have something you want to share, we want to hear about it. Find us on the TSOB LinkedIn group and jump in with 2 feet. We can't wait to chat.